Hey guys, welcome to Judge Jodi, Paxton Road's Premier League Player Ratings show. Guys, tonight I'm so excited. I have Pav here with me this evening for the very first time on Judge Jodi. Pav SPVP, you're going to have to tell me what that means in a minute, but welcome to the courtroom. Welcome to Judge Jodi. How are you doing, lovely? How's your day been?
It's been good. I'm quite excited to be on today.
Yay! I'm excited to have you. Been wanting to get you on here for so long. So I'm very interested to see what your take was on the Crystal Palace game over the weekend. Any kind of overall thoughts on the match at all? I think you were on the review show, weren't you, yesterday? So you've probably already
Yeah,
summed
I
it up.
was. So just more so the case of, I'm glad that we got the win and we held on to that goal for so long. I was quite negative going into that game because that's
Who
how I've
wasn't?
been since our performances. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great to see that we held on to that win. And I mean, Palace didn't really show for it, to be honest. They didn't really turn up. So after watching like the first half, it was kind of seeing through it and just holding on to that goal. But it was good to get a win.
100%. And an interesting lineup as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on not having Dyer in the team, I guess, number one, and kind of the way that the team was set up? Was it good to see? I mean, from my perspective, it was obviously it was positive because we saw the outcome of it. But were you happy with that in terms of?
Yeah, it was brilliant to see him not starting because God, he just needs to get out of the club. But
when Emerson was back,
yeah. But it was just more so the case as well was just seeing like Royal back as well, which was nice to see. And also I was quite happy with Richarlison starting over Cooley, so that was great.
Yeah, and good to see Basuma back on the bench as well, I think, just to hopefully maybe see a little bit of him before the season ends. So yeah, no, it was good. It was like you said, it's positive from my perspective. And I think I was just saying to you before we came on, like I'm just ready for this season to be over now. Like let's just get the games done, try and get a Europe spot if we can. And yeah, I don't know. What's your thoughts on getting like Europe? Are you wanting to get Conference League, or are you wanting to get some kind of European place, or would you be more likely to kind of just have that one game a week, try and focus on our team and getting kind of our team back to some kind of fight with some kind of fighting spirit, I guess? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
So I am against Europe now. I just want us to, finish outside of that box because I just think that we need a rebuild. So rather than, focusing on all the other games, we can just focus on the Prem. And like you said as well, it's just having that one game a week, which would be great just to focus on because the next manager that we bring in, he needs to have an understanding that we need a rebuild. So rather than having that pressure of all these other games to win, he just has that one aspect to focus on. So I think that would be better than having that pressure of focusing on all this European trophies that we know that we're not going to win anyway.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? Like, we're not trying to turn away a trophy because we all know that we need one desperately, but we're just not in the right mindset at the moment. Like, it's not the time. Like, we're not going to be able to challenge for anything if we get in there knowing what our team's like. So I agree with you. But anyway, before we get into it, Pav, I always ask new guests to my show a question. Haven't had a new guest on the show for a while. Do you have a pre-game superstition or something that you do before every single game? Is there like a certain ritual that you do before any sort of Spurs game, or is it just normal thing?
Pre-game, I mean, my current one that I've been doing is I've been tweeting before the game my prediction and getting everyone's predictions. That's really it, to be honest. I don't really have a ritual other than just, I used to be quite positive, but since the past couple of months,
have wiped that out of us,
the positivity is wiped out. So no, now it's just me being negative. So it's
I mean, that's
expected, but yeah.
What's your SPVP? Is that because I know it was positive vibes Pav?
I used to be PVP, so positive vibes Pav. But Sam now changed my name to SPVP, sometimes positive vibes Pavs.
Well, at least you can be positive some of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Great coming up to like get those positive vibes flowing, and maybe a new manager as well will help with that. But
hopefully, fingers crossed.
Welcome to everyone that we have in the comments tonight. David, as always, good to see you, buddy, and Dino Dinosaur, my regular guys that are here. Lovely to see you guys here with us. As always, if you're joining us, if you want to put your ratings in the chat, Pav and I will talk about those as well as we go through our ratings, and we'll see if you guys have any differences in ratings, because sometimes there is quite a few differences. But what I want to do now is let us get into the ratings. Let me share my screen and let's see what Pav and I have to say about these guys. All right, let's start out with Fraser Foster. What are we saying, Pav? A 5 and a 6. I was looking at your ratings and I feel like we're kind of on a similar level, but mine might be slightly higher and yours might be slightly lower, but I feel like we've kind of projected kind of similar ratings. So I don't know what you want to say about Fraser, but from my perspective, I don't think there was a whole lot for him to do, really. There was a couple of saves, I think, a couple of nice saves. He did like 2 saves. He picked up a yellow like late in the game. But then I think Harry had to step in, didn't he, and clear the ball at that one moment towards the end of the match there. And yeah, I don't know. I think it was an overall okay game from my perspective. Nothing too crazy that he did in terms of saves, but he helped to keep the clean sheet. So from my perspective, I gave him a 6. But what are you thinking for your 5?
You're spot on. I mean, he only had 2 shots on target, so there wasn't really anything going for him that game. Like I said earlier, Palace didn't really turn up. It was an easy game, I'd say. So they didn't really give him the chance to, show what he's about. So that's why I gave him a 5, because yes, when he had, the ball, he did show up for it. But other than that, didn't really do anything. It didn't really go for him, to be honest.
Yeah, agree. David, you're agreeing. And David, you've got a bit of every pre-game I lock myself in a roof and shout out all the swear words so I don't use them in the game. Yeah, that's a good one. That's why I don't do watch-alongs. Cool. Let's move on. We've got Emerson Royal, my boy, Emerson. Pav, 6. What are you saying about Emerson? You've given him a 7. You've given him a 6. Tell me, talk to me.
Yeah, so I mean, he had an excellent game. I was so happy that he was back. He was excellent defensively, and he was on Zaha like a hawk. He was on his back, and defensively he improved, being in that position as well, and obviously Dyer being out, it gave him more flexibility. But I think definitely best role yet. He proved what he's about. I know there's this whole negativity around him previously with, the past couple of months, but he's really shown up for it. I mean, I used to be quite negative about him, if I'm being honest, but he's turned it around. He's proved himself, and perfect example is the last game. He showed up, definitely.
100%. You summed it up completely well there from my perspective as well. Like I was so happy to see him on the starting lineup. And like I've never been completely on the Emerson out bandwagon, but I've never been on the Emerson in bandwagon. I've been a bit of a fence sitter when it came to Emerson. Obviously I've given him some pretty bad ratings because there were some games there, like in the early part of the season, where he was just terrible, doing some really rogue things. But as everyone's seen, like in the last, few games before he got out injured, he really had been improving. And I think it's been like ever since Porro's come in, we've noticed, like, we've missed him. Like, I think we've missed him massively because of that defensive nature and like how good he is defensively. So yeah, I think I agree with everything you say. Like, I think he had a really, really good game. I like how he had the freedom to play in the back line, kind of, as well as being able to tuck in behind Porro, like having that kind of free-flowing role that he had on Saturday. Some nice tackles as well, I remember. And like you were saying about Zaha, I think there was a nice block to deny him in the first half, which I remember. So yeah, definitely. And just the defending all round from Emerson, I think, was amazing on the day. So yeah, 7 it is from me and a 6 from you. What are you saying, David? Royal 7 covered for Porro to allow him to be an attacking threat. Yeah, it was such a good, it was a really good move, that. Dino, how the fans killed him in playing as a right wing back in a position he has never played. And that's the thing, isn't it? Like, so much shade kind of been thrown on him for like what you're saying there, Dino. You know, that's not his regular position. So he was doing the best with what he could do. So yeah, I agree with that. All right, let's move to Romero. 6 and a 7. Again, like, from my perspective, another amazing day for Romero. Like, it's been pretty touch and go, I think, with him for like the last few games. But he's definitely like come back into this game, and playing that sort of more centralized position, I think, really helped. Also, probably not having Dyer there as well to kind of make silly mistakes. I think probably, was more confident without having Dyer around him, probably. He almost picked up that header as well, didn't he? But hit the bar. So yeah, definitely a lot more involved, I think, from him in this game. And like not making any silly challenges either, I don't think, from like he's been doing like in the last however many games. He's been making some really crazy tackles and stuff like that, but I don't think he made anything silly like that in the Palace game. But like, yeah, just a really composed performance, I think, from him. What do you reckon?
Same thing. He had an excellent game. I mean, he's known for getting his yellow cards and, making stupid tackles. And last game, he didn't actually get a yellow card and he didn't mess up. He actually got 96, I think it was, touches and 7 clearances. And obviously that's crazy. And he didn't mess up once. And, when he was on the pitch, he obviously attempted to be on the ball. When he was doing his challenges, he didn't mess up at all. And yeah, great performance. I think he needs to carry on this way because we know that he is great as a player, but he needs to show up for it more rather than, all these silly challenges and things like that. And he proved it this game.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Romero, 9 for you, David. Must have took his pills this week. He was calm and collected. Player 1, world-class pass. Yeah, definitely. I think Pav and I probably just didn't rate the players too highly in this one. I think, like I was saying, I think we're kind of even with our ratings, but like just slightly. I think I'm slightly a little bit more higher than you, but I think our scale is kind of on a similar level. Cool. Let's go to Clement Lenglet. Oh, okay. 4 and a 6. I actually thought he performed pretty well. I think his distribution really served him well in this match. He was pinging up some really important balls. I think there was one really nice one up to Porro in the first half. I think he was tackling well as well. And then obviously he picked up that yellow, and I thought that was a really clever yellow that he picked up because he kind of almost rugby tackled the guy, and I think if he hadn't have done that, they would have definitely been through on goal. So I think he actually saved us, I think, with getting that yellow, picking up that yellow. But then obviously his injury that he picked up afterwards wasn't too good, so I hope he's not out for too long with that one. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think with Clement? I think you've got a 4 there. So was there anything that you saw from him that didn't impress you?
No, not really. The only reason why I put him as a 4 is because him as a player, as it is anyway, I'm a bit with him because sometimes he didn't show up, sometimes he does. I mean, this game he did, fair enough, like especially when he got that yellow card as well and that tactical challenge that he done. That was a tactical foul and I'll give it to him. And this game he did look defensively good, but he's very on and off. Even in that game as well, there were certain points where, you know, he didn't look great, but it could be an on and off balance, and I think he just needs to be consistent with the way that he is. And we've seen it in that tactical challenge. We've seen him how he was defensively as well. So it might just be giving him more time, to be honest. But like you said, he's injured now. I don't know whether it's a bad injury or not, which is kind of it kind of sucks for us. But yeah,
definitely the best back line that we've seen in a while, I think, in that game anyway. But yeah, hopefully he's not out for too long. But yeah, no, I agree. Perfect. Let's move to Ben Davies, 4 and a 6. I think he was another one, you know, obviously with that lineup that we had, he had the freedom to kind of drop back into the back 4 and then pop back into sort of the wing back position when we were countering. I like Davies in this position. I think there's some nice tackles that he made. I think there was like a nice sliding one that I remember from the second half of the game. I think he was working hard down that left-hand side. He wasn't, you know, one of the better defenders in terms of like Romero and Emerson definitely had a much better day. Emerson was much better on that right-hand side. But yeah, I think, you know, he helped us to keep the clean sheet, and I think he was winning the ball back for us on occasion as well. So I think a 6 from me, but what do you reckon?
You summed it up pretty well. The only reason why I gave him a 4 is because we need to see more of him in that position, potentially. He's another one which has his on and off days, because he is a decent player, but I think maybe him in that position needs to be played more. He did display good defensively, you know, good tackles, that sort of thing. I think maybe it's just seeing him more in that position and giving him that confidence, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And are you a Davies fan, or are you a bit more of like a not so like? Would you be happy?
I am a Davies. Yeah, I am a Davies fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do rate him. I just think that maybe some of the positions that he has been playing in before hasn't worked for him, but we saw in that game that, you know, he needs more of a chance to maybe play in the position that he did and give him more of an opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think he's very dependable, isn't he? Like he always shows up when needed.
Yeah.
You can rely on him. He doesn't really make too many errors. Like I know he does, and you know all our defense are guilty of that. But in comparison to some of the other players, I think he's a lot more he's a lot more solid. So yeah, definitely a good squad player, I think. Cool. Let's move to Porro. Pedro Porro picked up the assist. I think obviously, yeah, he picked up the assist for Kane's goal, wasn't it? I think there were a couple of unlucky moments as well, wasn't there? Like I think I said this before, like I feel like he's a bit selfish at times. Like I think he's always just wanting to shoot, and I don't know if he's just not in the right position or if he's just kind of unlucky in terms of not being able to kind of get the ball in the net. But yeah, I don't know. I think he's trying, definitely. I think what do you have? 1 of 2 shots on target. But yeah, I just do think that I think there was that time where he I think he tried to take a shot, and I think he should have passed to Son instead of taking that shot. But he took it himself, and yeah, I don't know. I just feel like he needs a bit more. He's a bit more kind of, I don't know. His shots on target aren't great personally, but his crossing, you know, is decent. So I don't know. What do you think?
That's why I rated him lower, was because he's quite selfish on the ball. Because we've noticed, it's not even in last games. There's a couple of games that he just wants to score for himself. Which, okay, I get it. You want to get on the score sheet, but there are so many opportunities that he has had to pass it to other people and, you know, assist instead. Like we saw his assist with Kane, and that was amazing. But it's good, just all about like kind of working as a team as well. And I think that he needs to understand that. I mean, in that position that he plays in, he is most trusted rather than having Royal or Doherty in
Oh,
that position,
100%.
so we give
Yeah.
him that.
Yeah.
But and his set pieces are amazing, but I think it's just more of a case of, you know, bringing it to the team and kind of not just being selfish on the ball and giving other people an opportunity. Because like you said, there was this one or two opportunities where he could have passed it to Son and he didn't, and he tried it for himself, and even Son was like what are you doing?
Yeah, no,
Like,
he was not happy,
scored.
was
So
he?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, I agree. David, you're agreeing as well. Vital moments he must learn to, but his teammates, aim to score. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Right, let us move to Højbjerg. 4 and a 5. Do you want to go on Højbjerg?
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I rated him as a 4 was because I think he needs to step up. I don't think this season has been his great season, to be honest, because he hasn't showed up at all. Like, we've seen what he's capable of this season. He's just been God knows where, and he needs to step up. Like, we know already midfield is a problem, and he does make great passes, but he's not his best. And even in that game as well, he didn't really show up. I couldn't really see him that much, very invisible. And it's just a case of, you know, becoming more confident and making more effort. And we didn't see that in this game. Maybe a couple of good passes in that game, but other than that, didn't really show up.
Yeah, there was one nice one. I think it was Højbjerg up to Son in the first half that I remember. But other than that, I think I agree with you. Like, he had that shot at goal as well, didn't he? But he was well off. Like, he's trying to get the goals in. I know he's got a couple this season, but you're spot on. Like, he's just not the Højbjerg that we had before the World Cup. I don't think really. Yeah. I think he was getting into the right positions and holding it down the middle like where he could, but just not an overwhelming display from my perspective either. You've definitely summed it up nicely there. David, Højbjerg 5, missing his partner Bentancur, who allows him more. Yeah, and that's exactly it. It's you know, where would we be with Bentancur? Like, if we still had Bentancur on the team, like, how far up the table would we be right now? It's very sad to see. And I don't think, like, I saw something saying that he might not be back until like November or something. I don't know if that's true.
November time, I think. Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway. Dino Dinosaur, he doesn't have the engine and he's getting overplayed. Am I still here, Pav? Or do I keep cutting out?
You keep cutting out.
Oh no. Am I back? Am I good?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're just glitching a bit.
Right. Oh dear. My internet's been a bit shaky lately. Let me try and sort something out here. Right, can you see Skipp? We got Skipp on the board.
Skipp, yeah.
All right, let's see what we're saying here. 4 and a 5. I think fair play to him coming on with his headband. I think he was a bit quieter in this one. Not a lot really to note from Skipp from me. Like, I don't think he's just not the one, I don't think. I don't know. What are you thinking for Skipp? Like, I just feel like he and Højbjerg are just too similar, I think, in the middle. And I think, like David's saying, in terms of you know, having Bentancur there to help Højbjerg have a bit more freedom, I think it's just not the case with Skipp. So yeah, it's just not really working too great, I don't think, from my perspective. What do you think?
No, you're spot on. It's not working for him. Like I said already, the midfield is a problem, and it doesn't help with him and Højbjerg being together. In that game, he did have a lot of fouls, but lack of quality in the ball. Whenever he's on the ball, it lacks quality, and he's not with it. I'll give it to him. I think that he does have quality in him, and you know, he can play better. But in terms of him and Højbjerg driving the ball forward and, you know, doing what they should be doing in midfield, they just don't live it up to it. And that's exactly proven it in that game. He just did not show for it at all and wasn't really there. I don't remember how many times his name was called, because I don't even think it was once, to be honest.
I don't remember it. Yeah. No, I agree. All right, let's move on from these guys. Son a 5 and a 6. Yeah, I mean, quite a day. I think, like, you know, he's been trying to get back up there on the score sheet, hasn't he? The last few games we've seen, and I've really enjoyed seeing him come back the last like 3 or 4 matches. I think now it has been. I think there's a block chance, I think, from Elise, I think, which could have given them the equalizer, but yeah, I think he did well with that. And I think he had a shot at goal as well, didn't he? But it was denied by Johnson. So yeah, I think he was defending better, I think, in this one, if that's even a thing from Son. Like, I feel like he offensively, so attacking wise, he wasn't really up to scratch, but I think kind of defensively he was a little bit better. So I've given him a 6, but what do you think? What's the 5?
I think we all know how Son's season's played out, and he's not been his best. He's not showed his potential this season. But with the position that he played in this game, I think it did work for him, kind of, especially defensively as well. Defensively, he looked good in that position, and he got important tackles, and he attempted headers as well, heading the ball away at certain points and, you know, blocking chances. But there's still that little problem with him, and I can't quite pinpoint it. And obviously he's not been himself. Like, fair play to him. He does try and, you know, score and stuff. And when he gets a chance, he tries. And in prior games, he's kind of lost the ball, and that's been a problem. But within this game and him in that position, he did pick up balls in certain areas and didn't really see a lot of losing the ball. So that was great.
Yeah, no, definitely. And let's hope that he gets a couple more goals in before the end of the season, from my perspective anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. Harry Kane, 7 and 6. I think it was a lovely headed goal, I think, of Porro's header in the first half. And then there was that really important clearance from him in the second half, which could have seen Palace get a goal in. I think when Foster was not in place. So I think that definitely was kind of why I bumped him up, as well as the goal. I think this is the highest score I've given. No, I've matched him with Romero and Emerson, haven't I? But in terms of the forwards, like, this is the highest score I've given. He got the goal. He blocked that really important that clearance, I think, that really helped. So yeah, I think other than that, like, it was a pretty quiet day, really, I think, from my perspective. But, you know, those things that he did were very important, and I could probably even bump him up a little bit higher, maybe, just based on the fact that he did stop that goal from going in and kind of. Please come back.
I think we've lost you.
Oh. Hey, Pav. I'm sorry, my internet.
Yeah, you're glitching quite a lot.
I've swapped to Hotspur. My internet provider, I'm not going to name them, but they need to sort themselves out. But hopefully I'm back now.
Yes.
Cool. I don't know if you caught any of that, but basically, summing it up, basically just saying that Harry Kane got the goal and he had that really important clearance. So I think I probably could bump him up a little bit higher than 7. But what do you think?
I actually forgot that he got that clearance, to be honest. But he was involved. He obviously got that goal, which was great. But the only reason why I gave him a 6 was because in the second half he was less involved. He was a bit quiet, but might have been, you know, because of the way that Palace were anyway, and we had got that goal and we were just like, okay, whatever. But quiet game. But he got that goal, which gave us the win, which was great, and we managed to hold on to it. So props to him for getting that goal and scoring the winner.
Yep, 100%. 100%. All right, let's move to Richarlison, a 5 and a 5. Yeah, from my perspective, not a whole lot to say, to be honest. He gets a pass mark for showing up. I think he was trying, but I don't really think like there's too much to say. Like looking back at the stats when I was trying to pull the stats up, he didn't really have any. He hardly touched the ball, and I think, you know, it's quite disappointing after his efforts last week. So yeah, I don't really have too much more to say about Richarlison this week. But what do you think?
Yeah, you're spot on as well. I mean, in the game, he did show a lot of aggression, driving the ball forward when he got a chance, but he needs to be more in the box. He's a bit ineffective on the right, it seems, and lacked a supply of the ball. But I think, and I've said this on our preview shows as well, that I think he needs more game time. I feel sorry for him because he doesn't have enough game time and show like what he's about, because we've seen it with him at Everton as well. He does have that quality in him, but if he's not getting the game time, we're not going to be able to see it. And I mean, that game showed a bit of it, but like you said, he didn't really, you know, turn up like that, and there was nothing really going for him. So that's why I gave him a 5.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you on that. David, what you're saying, Richarlison, 4, a 4, trying us not enough for 50. Yeah, I agree. Like, it's just not, you know, what is it? How many goals? He's got 1 goal in the Prem, hasn't he, this season?
Yeah, 1.
It's just not enough. Not good enough. It's not good enough for Richarlison. But I think you're right. Like, he does need more playing time. Like, you know, you can only improve with the amount of game time that you've got. But yeah, just not good enough, I don't think. So, all right. Well, that's going to do it for our ratings, Pav. But we do have Crime of the Week. Hopefully, my internet can hold out a little bit longer for the rest of this. But didn't actually have many nominations this week. But there is one nomination that has been found, and that is for a Crystal Palace fan for the racial abuse of Son after the game. Definitely, you know, discrimination of any kind is not tolerated and shouldn't be tolerated. And you know, Son's got the brunt of this quite a lot of the time, week in, week out, and it's just, it's not good enough, really. I know Palace have come out and hopefully they're going to ban that Palace fan. But yeah, it's just not good enough at all and shouldn't be tolerated. But anything to say on that, or do you have any other crimes of the week that you think should be nominated this week?
Crimes of the week, no, nothing else other than that. I saw the video and it was disgusting, but I'm glad that Palace is on that side of it, and hopefully the guy gets a ban. But it's just disgusting how much racism is faced in football, and it's not enough is done about it. But it's hard to prevent these things, especially when some people aren't even caught ever. So it's one of those, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. Dinosaur, you've got a question for us. Do you think Kane would be more excited about Nagelsmann or Poch? I don't know, actually. That's a tricky one, because I'm kind of thinking, like, is Kane going to go to Chelsea if Poch is at Chelsea? That's kind of my mind thinking. Not that I want that to happen by any means necessary. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I want Nagelsmann. I'd prefer Nagelsmann over Poch personally. But what about you? What do you think, Pav?
It's a hard one, because with the Poch side of it, you know, there's always that love there for Spurs, and you know, Kane might be like, I have a familiar face back at the club. Yay, this is great. Like, you know, Poch knows what I'm about, and maybe he could start playing for him again. But on the other hand, he could want something completely new, and Nagelsmann could bring that. If I was to choose at the moment, I would choose Nagelsmann as the next manager. But hey, Kane might be all for it for Poch, or he just might want something completely new, and Nagelsmann is the person for it, I think.
Yeah, definitely. We don't know. We don't know what these guys want. Just hopefully Kane will stay until I guess end of next season, or end of next season. But I don't know. I just hope we get Nagelsmann in now. But it's going to be that manager hunt roundabout thing again, isn't it? I think but the closer we get to the end of the season and we don't have a manager, it's just going to be it's going to be that same situation. Right, Pav, that's it for our show today. I think we've got Aston Villa on Saturday. Do you have any I think we've all sort of stopped doing predictions for games now because we just don't know what's going to happen or what first team's going to show up. But any thoughts, any predictions or anything like that?
Prediction wise, I'm not too sure yet what I think. But in terms of Aston Villa, I mean, we all know how they're doing this season. They've gone so far, and it's crazy how quick that's happened in time of space. And Unai Emery is done for them, and it's a case of where they position at the end of the season. It's definitely going to be a hard game, especially away as well against Aston Villa. We just need to show up for it and, not look invisible. But I don't know. I mean, Villa hasn't been that great recently. And I think they lost their last game. I'm not too sure on the top of my head, but you've got to stay positive. Yeah.
I think so. The goals are dried up for Villa, Dinosaur's saying. David, I actually do have fiber optic internet. I have quite, it's meant to be very good, actually. So yeah, the last probably month or so, it's not been good at all. And there's a lot of Twitter talk about that. Anyway, I won't get into that. But yeah, I do have it, but I don't know what's going on. Apologies, everyone, for that. And what you're saying, Aston Villa 1, Spurs 2. Yeah, let's hope we can just get a couple more wins. And yeah, definitely, we just need to try and get as many wins as we can just to keep the positivity flowing into next season. I like that 1-2 shout, David. I can't trust our defense to keep clean sheet ever. So I think, especially, I think you said Lenglet might be back on Saturday, David. But I was thinking if he's out and Dyer's back, then yeah, we probably won't be able to keep clean sheet. But yeah, I think 2-1 to us sounds like a good one. So hopefully we can pull that out. But yeah, I think that's going to do it. I don't want to keep everybody on this Freddie internet for too much longer. But thank you everyone for being here watching us, and apologies again for my slow and crinkly internet. Hopefully next time you see me, it'll be much better. Have anything you want to tell the viewers before we leave? I'm sure everyone knows where they can find you, but is there anything you wanted to say or promote or anything like that before we go?
Not really. I mean, if you want to follow my Twitter, it's PavJou, so Pav JOU, and I rant quite a lot there, and I predict before the game. So feel free to give it a follow.
Definitely go check Pav out. She, as she said before, she puts a tweet out before every game, asks for the score prediction. She knows what's up, and she always has some positive and sometimes not so positive, but that's, what life is like with Spurs these days. It's tough to say. So if you're not already, go check her out. From my end, obviously, you guys can catch me on Twitter at Spursy141. And please, if you haven't already liked this show, I know it was slow and not great, please like it. And subscribe to Paxton Road TV as well if you're new. We really, really appreciate it. And we've got a lot of stuff coming for you guys next season. Quite a lot of plans. The team are going to be kind of getting our little thinking caps on and doing quite a lot of brainstorming for next season once this season's over. So yeah, keep a lookout, and hopefully we will catch everybody very soon. But yeah, take it easy, guys. Stay safe this week, and I'll see you very soon. Come on, you Spurs.